Dr. J's Prescription for Health. I am your host, Dr. Malia Jensen. This is Tucker. Tucker is co-hosting from heaven. So that is for the introductions. For those of you who do not know me, I'm a family practice physician. I've been in practice for 28 years. So it's been a while. And I'm located in Iowa. So, all right, you guys, we'll wait for everybody to kind of join in here. And we've got a deep conversation today, and I need you guys to join in. I need you guys to be an active participant today. I know sometimes it just takes me maybe talking a little bit, and then it gets your juices flowing. You're able to ask some questions that are really burning inside. So we are live on Instagram and YouTube right now, and looks like everybody is joining in. We're always a little slower on YouTube, but we'll get started here. Today we're going to have a very honest, uncomfortable conversation about why your health may not be improving. And it may not have anything to do with what is on your plate, although what you choose on your plate relates to what I consider being stuck in a survival mode. So good morning, Touch of Wood, and good morning, Lucy. Thank you for being here. Lucy is my blue wrencher, my blue shield over on YouTube. She's my moderator, so I'm happy that you're here, Lucy. Thank you. I was listening to a podcast by a doctor. I cannot remember his first name. He's from UCLA, and it's Dr. Sideroff, and he wrote a book with the title "The 9 Pillars of Resilience," and then had some subtitles and all of that. Okay. Anyway, it sounded like a really cool topic to talk about, because over the last year with my clients, I'm finding out that even my clients who are following what I consider, or maybe even what they consider, a pretty good diet, they're exercising, they're doing all the right things, they're in ketosis for the most part, they've avoided sugar, they're doing things correctly, yet they still have chronic disease. And it might show up in their liver function or their insulin level or cardiovascular. Steven Sideroff, thank you. Thank you, Lucy. See, that's why she's my blue wrencher. She's always helping me out. And so, sorry, I can't pronounce your name, but thank you. Hi there, you guys. I think how we have been brought up in our childhood and how we adapt to the environment in our childhood could put us into a state of chronic stress. Now, it's not everybody, but over the past year, it seems like I've been more of a counselor than I have a doctor coach who's trying to help you manage your diet and your exercise to improve your health. In other words, you guys have already been educated on what diet you need or want to be on. For instance, a ketogenic diet. You're well aware that you need to do resistance training. You're well aware that you need to sleep, say 8 hours a night. You're well aware of circadian rhythm. You're well aware of hanging out with positive people and getting out in the sun, getting out in nature to improve your health. The people who listen to me are well aware of those things. Yet, something is trapping them. And when I look over your labs, I point it out to you and you say, Dr. Jensen, I don't know how that is possible. I do this and this and this, and you don't have to believe me. I said, well, I do believe you, but there's got to be something else. Over years, the chronic illness that you have obtained could be a result of childhood, being stuck in a survival mode. How do we get there, and what does that mean? You see, we have two components of our autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic. And you guys have heard me talk about being in chronic survival mode, chronic sympathetic nervous system tone all the time. And if we are in chronic sympathetic nervous system tone, we are in fight or flight. That means our cortisol is elevated. It means our adrenaline is elevated, and we are constantly in fight or flight. We don't sleep well, or you think you sleep well, but you're only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep. You're waking up early. Cortisol is kicking in the early morning hours. You wake up wide awake. You have energy during the day. You're not fatigued. You actually feel great because you are in chronic fight or flight and you've gotten used to it. Now, for the most part, familiarity breeds a feeling of safety, even if whatever that familiarity is, even if it's toxic, you still crave it, and you will continue to have this need for chaos. The minute you say, I want to be calm, you're chaotic, right? You might know that you're chaotic. You want calm, but the minute you sit with your feelings, stress comes. You get overwhelmed. So in order to distract yourself, you actually crave more chaos and stress to distract you from the exact chaos and stress that is causing your chronic diseases or chronic insulin or chronic plaque buildup. How can that all be related? Remember, cortisol and adrenaline and stress lead to cortisol and high blood sugars and high insulin, and that leads to gaining weight, and that leads to fatty liver, and it leads to inflammation, which irritates the lining of our arteries. And you say, but Dr. Jensen, my childhood was awesome. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, you might not even be aware of it, okay? Because as when you are younger, your nervous system has nowhere to go but to adapt to the emotions and the physical nature or the spiritual nature of your caregivers. And so if you were brought up having to emotionally calm or be vigilant about the emotions or the physical attributes of your caregiver, you actually learn that and you adapt to that. And so let's just say you have two paths, and this is, they intertwine, but just hear me out. Let's just say we have two paths to go down as we grow up, okay? There's a sympathetic path and a parasympathetic path. Yes, we need both, okay? But just think in general terms. If you are the child who grew up having to emotionally fix your environment, You've adapted and become hyper-vigilant to that type of environment, situation. And so as you grow up and your path diverges, it will diverge even more. Okay? Meaning society will end up rewarding this type of person over time. Now, again, you guys might be sitting back on your couch right now and you're listening to me and say, that doesn't explain me at all. Please just hang on and listen, because you might have somebody in your life or a coworker or a family member who is someone I'm explaining to you right now. Okay. So as your path diverges, the reason why it keeps continuing to diverge is because society will reward the person who is hypervigilant. Why? Because they're an overachiever. They're a type A. They're a fixer. They're an empath. They are everything that society says, claps their hands and says, good job. So you get validation. You get a validation for acting or responding in such a way. Okay? You will even attract people in your life who are chaotic. Why? Because it feels normal to you. It feels familiar and it feels comforting. The minute somebody comes into your life that is not chaotic, they're, I don't want to say normal, but let's just say they're calm. They're a calm person. They will actually seem boring to you. You can't even relate. You try, but you get no validation from them. Absolutely none. The boring calmness actually causes you to get worked up. And this loop causes you to diverge even further away. So you're diverging down a sympathetic, chronic sympathetic pathway all the time. When you try to calm yourself, you can do it initially. It feels like a relief. But the minute you start to sit with yourself, you find that it triggers you to think of more stress. That could be why you don't sleep at night. And why many people, and this is what I was reading, will use the TV. And as a doctor, I would tell you, hey, you know what? You really should turn the TV off, okay? You need to turn the blue light. Yeah, here's my medical mind. Turn off the lights, turn off the blue lights, get rid of the phone, get rid of the TV. All of this blue light is stimulating your brain. And I'm thinking in those terms, but I'm not thinking why you could be using the TV. It's a distraction. You even know it's a distraction. You've actually probably called it as a distraction. White noise or whatever, white sound or however you guys describe it, pink noise, brown noise, whatever it is, okay? And you are using it to actually distract your brain from not thinking. Imagine that. So you could have this dysregulated nervous system, okay? And this internal nervous system that's chronically in stress mode, chronically in survival mode. It's an internal friction, you guys. And it's funny, Lucy brings up that her mom sleeps with the TV, and that makes Lucy very sad. But Lucy, maybe you look at it in from a deeper perspective and say your mom could be, I don't know your mom, but your mom could be using the best possible scenario to actually get some sleep, which would be to distract her mind from thinking about a stress that's coming up, because it could be one stress and you fix it. Let's say your car, it gets a flat tire and you need a new tire, but you blow up this flat tire to extreme levels. And I don't want to say that your reality is skewed, but your reality is a little skewed. It's a flat tire, okay? And it can be fixed. Maybe you ran over something, you got something stuck like a nail, they pull the nail out, they put a little patch in there, and all is good. Or worst case scenario, you need a new tire, which leads to more stress, because you could fix this one stress, but a new stress will replace it. Now you're going to think, well, if that one tire needs to be replaced, I better do all four, or I have to do all four, or they'll get off balance. You're going to have to keep rotating them because one's going to be more worn than three others. Okay, so you get the one new tire, you got three bad ones. Well, then you think, I better just eat, or I got to get three more. So then you actually bring on more stress. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you? We have childhood adaptations, that we aren't even considering. And we're wondering when we get into our middle years, 40s, 50s, and 60s, why we're unhealthy when we've been doing so many things perfectly. Okay? And then even when you do change, let's say that you're on a standard American diet, you were a couch potato, you never got outside, you love to just be on the screen playing video games, and you completely do a 180. You start getting into ketosis, you start doing daily walks out in nature, you're doing some resistance training, you're doing all of these things. You changed all of your light bulbs to halogens, or is it halogens? Incandescent. You changed all your light bulbs, you got rid of the TV, you did all the things, right? Yet, your calcium score continues to get worse. Your insulin can't go below 8, even though you're not eating any sugar. You have inflammation in your coronary arteries, just a little bit. Maybe your high sensitive CRP is 1.5 or 2. Let's just say it's 2. And you got a little bit of LPPLA2 elevation. You got some inflammation in your coronary arteries, and you're going, what else can I do? You see, high performers, type A, fixer, hyper-vigilant people will turn to, how do I fix this? What can I take? A hyper-vigilant fixer type A would rather spend $200 on a supplement than to sit with their self, slow down, and try to regulate their biology. The $200 supplement, the change in your diet, will never fix the biology that is stuck in survival mode. Okay? And so we would actually die if we did not have survival mode. If we did not have a sympathetic nervous system, we would die. All right? But there has to be a balance that when an acute stress comes on, sympathetic nervous system rises, and then it should come down. And then we go into a rest and calm, or rest and digest situation, okay? Where parasympathetic tone, which I call healing, counteracts sympathetic. So let me see what this question is. With everything that is going on in this world, it's hard to differentiate a justifiable response to real chaos. Yes and no, okay? When there is chaos, we should react to it. But at the same time, when the chaos goes away, what happens is this person, this type of person that's hyper-vigilant, fixer, type A, actually manufactures another stress, another chaos. In fact, they will attract people who have chaos. So it could be continuously in your life, never going away. So you could say your world is chaotic. Well, you watch news every day. You could turn the news off, right? Or you have a certain job with a certain boss. It is very chaotic. You could start looking for something else. But what this type of person will do is they will actually manufacture another stress to take away from the stressed boss, or makes you stressed. They will continue to manufacture more and more stress. It becomes very comforting because being alone with calmness is terrifying to your brain. It's not used to it. So you have to slowly retrain your brain, or else the chronic cortisol and the chronic adrenaline, raising blood sugar, raising inflammation, raising insulin, increases all of our chronic diseases. Yes, your diet plays a role, and you will likely choose foods that add or try to calm your stress. And what are those? Addicting, not foods, fake foods. So we get the high cortisol trap, which leads to the glucose and the insulin and the fatty liver and gaining weight. We get the cardiovascular trap, where we're very inflamed. We're injuring our lining of our arteries. The endothelial cells are being damaged. And this can lead to plaque buildup. I spoke of the fatty liver. Another one is your sleep, a chronic insomnia, leading to the loop of high cortisol, leading to high blood sugar, leading to high insulin, leading to the fatty liver, and it's a chronic loop, you guys. Now, I'm not one for being able to counsel you, because I've not been trained in it. I know that's a bad excuse, but maybe, and I've talked about this before. Have you tried reading a book? Okay, so Lucy is helping. Oh, thank you, Original K. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Tina says, is this overthinking? I'm guilty of that. I go down rabbit holes. Because you're a fixer. You go down rabbit holes in order to fix whatever it is that you're trying to fix, the stress. So let's just say, you could go down rabbit hole on the tire. Well, you could go down the rabbit hole that if you only fix one, how many days or how many miles could you ride on that tire without causing a problem? If you could balance this one tire, and you go down a rabbit hole of, should I buy all 4 tires? Or should I get 2 just on the front, rotate them to the backs, and back and forth? Yes, overthinking is your brain trying to fix and not be alone with the calmness. And most of you who have this, like Tina, already knows she overthinks. She knows she's an overthinker already, because you're well aware that you think you have a problem. You just don't know how to fix it, and you don't know where it came from. But I'm going to tell you, the most likely thing is it occurred between the ages of you popping out of mama's womb and age 5 or 6. That is when our nervous system adapts to our environment and the caregivers. So if you had a parent or both parents who you had to emotionally calm them, or you had to always be fixing them before you fixed yourself, now you become even more divergent down a path of trying to fix people. If I fix them and fix their chaos, you get validation, okay, for being so good at what you do that you will continue to attract the very same thing over and over and over again, okay? Unfortunately, there are people out there who take advantage of that, okay? And you will be attracted to that because it feels familiar. So familiar that you want to cozy up to it until it gets worse. And then you try to fix it over and over and over again. And at first, the breadcrumbs will tell you that you're doing a good job until the breadcrumbs get further and further and further away. Okay? Your boss could do this to you. A friend could do it to you. Your spouse could do it to you. A family member. It is there. So being aware of the way you've grown up, so you're going to have to relearn everything or undo. So one, you have to realize that it's occurring. You have to go back in time and figure out what it is. Now you have to unwind everything that you've been taught and relearn things. And you say, well, why do I have an autoimmune disorder? Why do I have high cholesterol? Why is my insulin up? I do everything Dr. Jensen tells me to do, yet nothing's getting better. In fact, it's getting worse because you're manufacturing more and more stress. You're going to spend $200 more on supplements. You're going to get another gym membership. You're going to get a trainer. You're going to take sleeping pills. You're going to go to the doctor more. You see how this loop could be the very reason why you're not getting better. Is it a possibility? That's why I wanted to have a deep conversation with you guys. And if you're willing, share. Now, I have done a reel on what I consider, it's called a brain dump. And it's a journal. And you journal or brain dump everything that's on your mind before you go to bed. So if you're thinking about the car tire and you're thinking about the rain and your gutter spouts and the sump pump and and the job, anything, write it down on a piece of paper. Put all of your stress and chaos onto a piece of paper. Write it all down. It's almost like, okay, I have it up here and I'm going to rest it on my piece of paper so I can go to sleep. Empties it out onto, it's called a brain dump journal, okay? If when you're first getting started with this brain dump journal, you might still be waking up in the middle of the night because you're just not that good at putting everything down on paper and letting it go. So what I would suggest to you is bring your brain dump journal to bed with you. Set it beside you. It's got to be real. You have to actually write on a piece of paper, you guys. Not your phone, not in your little notes section. A piece of paper and a pen or pencil. Write it down. Do a brain dump. Get rid of the things that are on your mind. Let it go until morning. If you wake up, you have more stuff on your mind, write it down. Don't turn the lights on. Do not turn the lights on. Scribble it down. Your brain doesn't know if you could read it or not, but your mind will know that you actually put the brain dump, the idea onto the brain dump journal. Does that make sense? Don't turn the lights on. It'll wake you up. Okay? Melatonin, blue light, whatever stimulates your brain. Okay? Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Instagrammers are pretty quiet. Hit the thumbs up, you guys, please. Hit the thumbs up and the like button and all of that good stuff. Penny says when she wakes up in the middle of the night, she prays for everybody that she can think of when she can't sleep. And then pretty soon she nods off. That's a great thing to do. If you're a praying person, try that. Dennis asks a totally unrelated question. What do you think about fecal microbiome transplant to treat immune issues all the way up to mild autism and ADHD? I have seen success with microfecal transplants. But here's my thing. You could get the fecal transplant, Dennis. It could help your autism and your ADHD and every other disease that you have. But if your problem, Dennis, relates to a stressed nervous system, nothing can be fixed. It's like you have rust on your car and you sand it off and you put some primer on it and you put some paint on it to match your car. In 3 months, it'll get worse because you never replaced the panel and you never wash your car in the winter to get the salt brine off, and you never do this and this and this to prevent the rusting. Okay? So, Dennis, what do I think about a fecal transplant? If it could heal you? Absolutely. For a short period of time. If you don't fix your diet, your sleep, your trauma, childhood trauma, a whole bunch of money, whole bunch of time, and really an uncomfortable thought of putting someone else's bowels movements in your body. I know it's all cleaned up. I get it. But some people get grossed out about that, putting someone else's poop in their bowels. Sounds like a wonderful idea that makes people a lot of money without fixing the underlying problem of the ADHD or the autism or the chronic stress or the plaque formation or the high insulin and the fatty liver and all of that. Delora is working on retraining her nervous system and struggling with PTSD. You guys, it sounds really, really easy. When I listen to Dr. Sideroff, it sounds really easy. I mean, the way he describes it, right? But from my experience working or discussing this with people, it doesn't come so easy. The first things that need to be done, one is a reality check. You have to know that something is wrong, okay? 2, you have to undo that post-traumatic stress or that trauma bond that you had from childhood. Knowing that you had it and now undoing it. Then you got to relearn or retrain your nervous system. And that's going to take time. You've been doing this for some of you for 40, 50, 60 years. You can't undo it just in a couple training sessions or one day. You can't just start doing your breathing exercises and undo a nervous system that has adaptations that feel familiar and safe, even though they're toxic, even though you crave the need to be needed by the exact same stress and chaos. You will find yourself falling for it over and over and over again. And that's where the boundaries come in. Delora, thank you for the gift. I appreciate that. That means a lot. It might mean that I am hitting home to something that you're feeling inside and you're going, yeah, that's it. And that's why I want to talk to you. And is it 50% of the population? I don't know. I don't know percentages, but I will tell you this, that my clients that I have right now, it seems like every other one. Is that 50%? It is. Every other one of you have these symptoms, and some of you don't know it. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Some of you don't know it. You'll just say, "God, I can't sleep. I haven't been able to sleep since I was a kid. Ever since blah blah blah." And you just go with it. Well, they say you don't only need about 5 hours of sleep, or, as you get older, you just don't sleep that much anyway. Well, I'm here to tell you that the reason you can't sleep may in fact be that you have a nervous system that's in fight or flight. Okay? Tina says, yes, I'm a fixer for sure. Mitigate the impact of the stressor. Yeah. Lucy says, stack all the simple things like Dr. J mentions, the sun, good nutrition, less blue light, stay positive. You're in a good place to learn. That is very true, Lucy. I will add that we have to get uncomfortable at some point. And what I mean by that is it is not very comfortable finding out that you have a childhood trauma, and the way you act as an adult is because of the environment you were raised in from the ages of 1 to 6, where you have learned to adapt to these situations, okay? And it can be terrifying to your brain finding out you might find that your situation actually gets worse before it gets better, because the realization freaks you out. It can freak you out and overwhelm you. And that is normal, okay? It's a normal response, okay? People who say, I ruminate, or, then, and like Tina says, overthinking, I call it rumination, where you cannot get the thought out of your head. Well, what if, like the tire situation, one is flat, but what if all of a sudden, another one goes flat? What if I'm driving on the interstate and you go down all of these rabbit holes thinking about the possible situations that could possibly happen? That is seriously what gets you in this loop over and over and over again, okay? Prime Color says, how do I retrain my brain if I still live with my parents? It can be very, very difficult. And what I would say, Prime Colors, is I would suggest to you to set boundaries. If you are a fixer and you're hyper-vigilant and you're a type A, I'm guessing you're a person who has very, very weak boundaries, if any at all. You will let everything slide because you will want to try to fix it. If you set a boundary, I'm going to not talk to my parents after 6 p.m. so I can relax and go down to sleep. But if they come into contact, ask you a question, and spur you on, your boundary weakens. If it's not very strong, it will just fall apart. And you will fall into the fixer mode. Parents are upset. And you're doing all of this actually subconsciously. You're not actually thinking, how can I make my parent less stressed? You're not thinking that. You've adapted to it. That you're actually walking on eggshells in a way. And you are hyper-vigilant with the room. And it could be why you're not sleeping. You could be sleeping with both your eyes closed, but yet you're sleeping with an eye open. You are hyper-vigilant, always scanning the room. If I fall asleep, then something's going to happen while I am asleep that I can't fix. Make sense? And it's happening subconsciously. You probably aren't even aware that it's happening. And I know I'm not trying to get into some psychological conversation here, because my thing is, why aren't you getting better? Why do you have these chronic diseases despite all of the things you apparently are doing correctly? And I have no doubts that you're doing them correctly, okay? It's just that we got some childhood trauma that we need to realize, unlearn, and relearn. And for Prime Colors, we got to start with boundaries, setting boundaries. Write them down. Hold your piece of paper and write them down, okay? If this situation comes up, You see it written right here. Don't interact. Do not jade. Do not justify. Do not argue. Do not defend yourself. Do not explain. Do not jade. Jade. Justify. Oh, you know what? This is just them. Argue. Trying to explain or try to share logic with these people does not work. Defend yourself? No, do not defend yourself. You already know that you're right. You already know that you have a boundary. Don't defend it. You have nothing to say. You set your own boundary and you stick to it. You don't need to explain why you have a boundary. You don't need to defend why you have a boundary. You just need to have the boundary. That is hard because you've never had a boundary before. It feels awkward. You feel mean. You feel like you're hurting somebody and you just want to fix them. You cannot fix them. They're unfixable. They need to fix themselves, just like you need to fix yourself. Am I making sense? Okay. DA says it's hard to dump when caring for parents with advanced dementia who gets up every half hour and who cannot tolerate sleeping medicines. Thank you, Delora. This might sound a little insensitive, DA, but you are choosing to care for your parents with advanced dementia. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying you are a grown-up who has chosen to care for your dementia parents. It might be considered honorable by society, which could feed your continuation to not give up control and allow somebody else to come into the home and wake up every half hour. Okay? There are solutions, but if you are a person who has a stress and you try to solve a stress, you will manufacture another stress. It's quite possible. And you use the excuse, well, there's no one else. I have to take care of them. Well, you don't have to do anything. You choose to take care of them. And in so doing, you are hurting your own health, and they don't even know that you're hurting your health. They might not even know who you are, yet you have no boundaries. Again, I don't want to sound insensitive. I'm just trying to wake you up to what might be going on, okay? Because as children, we feel the need to take care of our parents. It is the right thing to do in some situations until it becomes a degradation on our own well-being. And then I would say, okay, maybe we hire somebody to take over the nighttime care so I can sleep and someone else gets up every half hour to make sure my parents are okay. There are things to do. And I guess I could talk ad nauseum to this, but how does someone fix a childhood trauma if they have one? Asks Lucy. It might take a special counselor. It might take you doing deep dives into what is going on. Okay? Some examples. First off, you have to realize that you have a childhood trauma, right, Lucy? You have to realize that you have a childhood trauma. Then you have to do a deep dive if you want and say, okay, I act like this and this and this. What could have possibly happened in my childhood that would allow me to act like this? And it's getting worse and it's making me unhealthy. You can get counseling, you can read books, you can use AI to look things up. There's a lot of different things that you can do for healing. But I would say that you need a special counselor who deals with childhood trauma. Not all counselors deal with childhood traumas. They have absolutely no idea. They will sugarcoat it and they will paint broad brushstrokes when you need details. You need exact questions from a childhood trauma specialist to get you to open up your little person inside of you and ask yourself what happened. And that realization, when your little person inside of you wakes up and says to the big person, stop doing that. You know you need to take care of mom and dad. They're demented. And you listen to the little person inside of you. But that little person is scared. They have the trauma bond. And so you, as the big person, is comforting the little person inside of you because you don't want any more chaos. You attract chaos, yet you're trying to calm the chaos all at the same time. Sounds weird, right? Yeah, Gary, I agree that the Holy Bible is the answer. God is the answer. I wholeheartedly am on the same page as you. But sometimes we can't even listen to God. In fact, we might blame God for putting us through this. It's a difficult thing. Gary suggests Isaiah 34:16. I don't have my Bible. I mean, it is right here. I could look it up. But what I'm saying, I can relate to you, Gary. I could go to the Bible and get my answers and feel good about it and not need counseling or that. But everybody has a different situation. Everybody's got a childhood trauma that is eating them up inside, and their little person is, traumatized. Indoor Kid says, I've been working through my PTSD for over a decade, and sometimes the same stressors just keep getting triggered. I understand. It's hard for someone if they've never had a post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? But here's what I would say. You know what the stressor is, right? And you know that your most common, familiar, safe response is this, okay? You likely need to work on a different response. Instead of the comforting, cozy blanket of familiarity that you feel as safety is actually very toxic, you need to change the response. I don't know how to do this, okay, you guys? I am totally not equipped to give you advice or give you suggestions on how to do it. Yet that one comes to mind as if I know the exact same stressor gives me this trigger. My response is always this: fix it, make them comfortable. But at the same time, you are putting yourself on the back burner. You put yourself in a state of unhealth by trying to fix this, whatever the stress is, your post-traumatic stress. It is a vicious cycle, and that's why we need help of breaking that cycle, breaking the response, get rid of the jading, get rid of, undoing however we responded as a little kid to these same stressors. Because your body, your brain does not want any more stress. So it's going to say, well, if I can control it, even if it takes me a half an hour, one day, I've been able to control it in the past. Okay? So you will lean on that same stressor, which gives you that same trigger, which you've always used this response. And even though it feels miserable at the time, it gets better until it happens over again. At that point, you have to think to yourself, I better change the response. I have to undo this safety, familiar reaction and get uncomfortable, because you are just craving the being needed, even if your little person is the person that needs to be needed. It's hard for me to explain. I'm not good at this. That is so true. That story, that cat came back. The Bible is undefeated, absolutely. If you look back, you become a pillar of salt, right? You'll be plowing in the field, right? You'll be plowing in the field and you look back. Or the wife of, it's Priscilla, right? Priscilla they were told, don't look back, Priscilla, look back. She, maybe she was a fixer, maybe, who knows? But the consequences is, she became hard and yeah. Indoor says, I have been able to identify things maybe a little better, but I do keep attracting the same toxic people. And you attract them because it's comforting. It is, again, you craving the need to be needed. It feels familiar. So you were, over time, probably not a kid anymore, maybe you are. You got validation at some point. You got warm fuzzies. You got pats on the back. You got society thinks I'm really a good person type of thing, okay? And so you will continuously be in the survival mode, and you will continue to attract these people until you can recognize that they are actually the very people that are redoing your trauma bond, that keep your trauma bond active. It's very complicated. I'm not sure why I chose this topic today, but it felt good. It felt like it related to one out of every two clients I was talking to the past year. I mean, there are some obvious things on labs, and I'll say, okay, it looks like this and this and this, and you go, yeah, doc, I guess, yeah, you're right. I've been sitting on the couch. I'm not exercising. I'm in a stressful job and I just don't feel like it. When I get home, I just want to get a pizza and call it good. Okay. Things to work on, right? Oh, thank you, Lucy, for setting the moderation. I appreciate that. Prime Color says, yes, it's subconsciously conscious, because if they're stressed, they take it out on me. Possibly because they know that you are the fixer, okay? I think that we need to also acknowledge that the people in your life, like your parents, subconsciously don't even know they're doing it to you. You might think they are, but it's their learned reaction to their childhood bond. Now we're getting complicated, prime colors. Your parents have trauma bonds, and they have reactions and learned behavior. And you are coming to the realization that you have always been the one that fixed everything, that blended in to make everything peaceful, to get them to, hey, calm down. And you do the things that are toxic and hurt you only because it keeps the peace. And so you just continue to do it as your learned response. Now, again, setting a boundary. Maybe you enter from a different door, go to the basement, have your own little apartment down there, and you do not interact from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then you're going to work and you have a limited exposure to them. You have to grow up and realize that they're not going to change. They don't want to change. They might not know they need to change. You are attracting not another fixer, trust me, or else they wouldn't do that to you. They would not take it out on you if they were the fixer, the healer, the type A. They would be wanting to fix. So you've actually attracted the toxin yourself, the familiar chaos, and you can't let it go. Because the minute you let it go, you start feeling uncomfortable with calmness. Right? Okay. If you are trying to catch up with what we're talking about, maybe go back to the beginning, but sit tight. I think we can end up answering a bunch of questions here. Osantu says, hey doc, what are the potential impacts of having a 0.3 centimeter, so not quite a half a centimeter, cavernoma? So an oma is a tumor in the cavernous section of your brainstem. What is the impact of having this? If you don't, and if you do have it, what are the changes that can be made to reduce the risks? I'm going to claim ignorance on that. I am not one to ask about an oma in your cavernous part of your brainstem. I'm sorry. I don't know. Oh, Lot's wife. Thank you, Tia. Lot's wife who looked back in the Bible. They don't give her name. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, who was the one? Is it Priscilla? Now you're getting me. Tia, can you look this up or help me? Now it's on my brain. Who is it? Priscilla, and her husband it started with an A. Aquilus, I can't remember. Is it? And they sold their land, and they gave a portion of their land, and they did not give it all. They did not give everything in the tithes and offering. Am I thinking that they had some sort of wrath? Help me out with the Bible story. It's just a curious thing, and I know it has nothing. Aquila is his name. Thank you. Is her name Priscilla? And it was over tithes and offering. Am I thinking correctly? What is my favorite Bible verse? Oh my gosh, how could I just give one? John 3:16 is an awesome verse for me because it tells me everything about why I can never fix everything. And I am a sinner, and I need a savior, and I want to go to heaven. And so John 3:16 brings me back, grounds me, and says, you know what? Your life really isn't that bad, okay? Someone died in your place. Someone gave their life for you. Who in the heck would, in living right now, who in your family, your universe, in your world would actually die for you on a cross with a thorn in their head, being whipped and bleeding and dropping every last agonizing drop of water out of your body and dying for you, and then saying, "Tetelestai, it is finished." There's no better verse than that. But if I had to give several more, the next one that I like to relate to you guys, because I have a questioning mind just like you, is 1 Thessalonians 5:21-22. That says, test everything. Examine everything carefully and hold fast to that which is good and abstain from that which is evil. Hold fast to that which is good, Jesus, and abstain from everything that is evil, Satan. Satan's world. 1 Thessalonians 5:21-22, where I would say to you is, how do we know? How do we know that Dr. Jensen is telling us the truth about LDL not being the culprit to coronary artery disease? How can we possibly believe that when our whole life we've been told that you eat fatty meat, you're going to get clogged up arteries and you're going to die of a heart attack? How are we going to undo all of that? Well, the same way we have to undo your trauma bond that you grew up with, you fixer, hyper-vigilant, type A, ruminant individual who is living in a world of chaos. Okay? All right. Delora, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, thanks for Lucy for summarizing. I appreciate that. Maybe, should I pin that comment? Or for right now, we can pin it. All right. Dolores says, I've had to make so many changes after identifying the origin. And that's what it's going to take. Identification, admission, you know what? Finding your reality is really difficult. It's very overwhelming to know that you have been living a certain way and it's kind of a lie. We've all come to that conclusion. It's just that some of us grew up in an environment where it was an emotional, physical, and spiritual lie. A lie. And sometimes it takes till we get older, and they say wisdom comes with age. Well, some of us, it just takes longer to come to the realization that we have some sort of trauma bond and we need to change it. Molly, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here. Indoor Kid says, I feel like I can satisfy my own hierarchy of needs, but then I always get involved with a narcissist who leaves me worse off than I was before. That narcissist is the very person who can smell you like blood in a shark tank. They can pick you out of a room in seconds. They know the fixer, type A, loyal, hypervigilant, empath. They smell you and they will seek you out. And because their world is chaotic, it feels right at home to you. You crave the need to be needed because, Indoor Kid, they love bomb you. And that love bomb feels cozy. They could tell you all of the things that you want to hear. You're so good. You're so smart. You're so pretty. You're so handsome. You're You're so successful. You're this, you're that. They might even be a Christian in disguise, saying all of the right things, twisting the Bible on you, whatever it is. You get involved with them because your little person inside of you, that little kid living indoors of you, craves it. It feels comfy and cozy. And they're saying all the warm fuzzies that make your inner little person jump for joy because it's familiar and it feels safe. And then you don't know that you got involved with a rattlesnake until it bites you. And so what you need to do, indoor kid, if this continues, you can look back in history and say, yep, everybody in my life has been a narcissist. You've attracted them, okay? You were you're the blood in the shark tank, okay? So now that you know that, moving forward is what's going to help you, because they usually use the same exact techniques over and over again, okay? They're going to use the love bombing, and you're going to be able to pick that out. It's going to seem not real. It's going to give you a really bad feeling, like, this is not normal. This is not natural. Oh yeah, but I keep falling for it. It feels so good. I think it's love. Love of a friend, love from a spouse. It feels loving because you crave love. You crave need. You crave these things. And the minute the prince or the princess comes into your life, you think you can fix their chaos. It might be so slick, so covert. It's not that grandiose narcissist that is attracting you, indoor kid, because you likely sense the grandiose, ego-driven narcissist like a shark, or like blood in a shark tank, okay? You see them coming. They're obvious. They love themselves so much, it's like spewing from them. They're so grandiose. They've never done anything wrong. It's always your fault. You can pick them out easily. But the covert victim type of narcissist, those are the ones that are sneaky little rattlesnakes that suck their way into your life and tell you all of the nice warm fuzzies and how good and pleasing and how they just tell you everything you want to hear. In fact, indoor kid, you're so obvious, I'm guessing, that they can actually mirror you in less than a month. They know you. They can you will vomit out everything about yourself to them, and they will take inventory over a time period, and they will use all of those things to hook you. To hook you. I'm not saying that you need to never trust anybody, but you have to be very conscientious about what information you give to people. You need to say, is this a safe person? Are they safe? Are they a fixer and a helper? If they're love bombing you and you're falling for it, it will happen very rapidly. But a fixer empath will kind of be a little more weary. And you will start to see their light or their salt and how they really are. But the others, you should get this sense like, wait a second, they're acting kind of fake. Just watch them. Watch them and how they interact with everybody. Watch them how they use the exact same cues, the exact same phrases. You're my person. You're this. They will use these on everyone, and they're not even hiding it. They could put it out on social media. And you'll think to yourself, Well, I thought I was your person, but you just end up telling everybody that. Or some other useful comment that they will use because they know how to covertly hook a person like Indoor Kid. Am I making sense to you guys? Am I making sense that they are so good that they've trapped you how many different times? 10 times? 10 different people? Okay. Tina says 100% about the boundaries. That was helped me so much. I can't fix or help everyone. You can't, there's no one you can fix. Tina, be yourself. Be like what Jesus wants you to be. Be the eyes of Jesus and see like how Jesus would see. Be the mouth of Jesus and use the words that Jesus would use. Be the hands of Jesus to heal. Be the feet of Jesus to walk and share the gospel with people. Be that. And when that's for me and could be for you, I don't know where you are, where you sit spiritually, but the boundaries, when you see what Jesus can see and say what Jesus can say and walk like Jesus can walk, you will be able to figure out these people. And honestly, like for Kid who's continues to attract these people, you just have this desire to want to fix them. They actually cannot be fixed. They can't go to counseling and undo their narcissism. The failure rate is like 95%. And that's why you cannot jade with them. They have hidden and put a pillow over their little person inside that they'll never get that person out. They'll never get that little girl, that little boy out. They've been traumatized so much. Their learned behavior is not to be the fixer. They have no idea what that is. They have no empathy, none, zero. It looks like empathy because they're mirroring your empathy. They have none. They don't know what it is. They just know cues. They don't even know what it is. They see you acting empathetic. Oh gosh, that was so sad. That little raccoon died on the side of the road. I could have helped and saved it. And then they will say, yeah, that was so sad. It makes you just want to cry, doesn't it? I wish we could have gotten out and done something. None, zero. That is not empathy. They are mirroring you and your empathy. They have none. Okay? Once you know that, it's much easier to gray rock them, to set boundaries, and to do these things. But you can't until you identify that you are attracting them. You already have done that. You just told me. Yeah, Delora, I agree. In order to preserve your own health, you might need to. And it's different with, I can't remember who it was that is taking, colors. They're taking care of their parents, I think. You can still set boundaries and gray rock. And look it up. There are techniques to gray rock where part of it is don't jade, okay? You don't justify, you don't argue, you don't defend, you don't explain. You cannot ever put your logic into a narcissist's brain. You cannot do it. You can never use logic on them. It will frustrate you to the point where you think you're going crazy. That's their intention, is to lose your self-control and That is how you get reliant on them. And that's when they start taking you through the process of devaluation, making you feel like you're a zero, making you feel like you're dumb, making you feel like you're weak. They will devalue you because you're actually better than them, and they want what you have and never, but can't admit that their little person inside them has been also traumatized. They've hidden that person. It can't come out. Not even the best counselor can bring that person out. Okay? It is a learned behavior, and they will go to their grave, most likely a narcissist. The codependent empath, hyper-vigilant fixer has potential. They have potential. It's a possibility that they can be fixed, okay? Because they have the realization. They have insight. Their reality might be a little distorted because they devalue themselves, because they've been devalued by narcissists in their life. And that's why they continue to attract them, because they crave the need to be needed over and over and over and over again. Okay. Logan, I'm not sure that I can answer your question. I don't know. And yeah, Indoor Kid says, Logan, talk to your doctor. I agree. Talk to your doctor. Talia. Well said, Dr. J. You're very welcome. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. I see. Okay, we got 28. Can we get to 35? Can we get to 35 right now? Hi, Teresa. Thanks for being here. Yeah, actually, Lucy, I don't know how to answer the question about Logan, but I agree adding another medication is definitely not the solution. Yep, if you got puffy eyes and there's something holding fluid, and could that be stress? Absolutely, since we're on the topic. But yeah, there's probably a lot going on. If you want to go through, send your labs, sign up for a consultation, email me at ironladydoc@aol.com, ironladydoc, IRONLADYDOC at AOL.com. Sign up for a consultation. Yeah, 1910, those are all good things with a dementia patient, is getting them outside, tiring them out, giving them magnesium. But you have to understand, 1910, that a demented patient or a narcissist or any type of borderline type of, or any type of personality disorder. It might be narcissistic traits. It might be full-blown narcissistic disorder. Whatever the personality is, their circadian rhythm is way off. So if you're a caretaker, you need to start, especially if it's summer, you just need to start getting your parents up. Like right now, it's starting, the days are in the morning. It used to be where you could, at 5 a.m., the sun would start coming up over the horizon. Now here it's like 5:40. So you're 5:40, you need to get your parents up, get them in their wheelchairs or whatever, get them outside. So we start resetting their circadian rhythm. Okay. It might take getting them up, and this takes, it's going to take a long time to reset that circadian rhythm because it's way, way, way off. But getting them up at the break of dawn, getting the sunlight into their eyes will help. Getting that sunlight into their eyes will help reset. Then you need to go to bed when it gets dark. You cannot allow them to stay up when it's dark under the lights, keeping their eyes open, so melatonin can never be secreted from the brain. Okay? So resetting their circadian rhythm. And then, giving them magnesium, maybe magnesium glycinate and some extra glycine, pure glycine powder to drop their body temperature, and calm, get them into a parasympathetic tone. Okay. Summer Love says, hey, Doc, no questions, just saying hi and sending love from Michigan. Go Blue. Yeah, go Blue. Wonder what's going to happen to the football team. Oof. Or the basketball team. We got Coach May left. Yeah, 1910, you're right. I brought up the topic because I care. You're right. I just didn't think it would. Yeah, I'm glad, though. I'm glad it's triggering you guys to ask questions. It's a definite topic that needs to be dealt with, I will say. Yeah, 1910, that's exactly right. They said they gave all the money, but they kept some, didn't they? They kept some, and they wanted it for themselves when God would provide everything we need. Yep, Purple Flower, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, John, I agree. You need a savior. I need a savior. Yeah, I'm helpless without my savior, Jesus. I couldn't save myself. I can't save any of you guys. You can't save me. There's no one coming to the rescue except for Jesus. He's the only one that can save us. He already did. He died for us. All you have to do is say, all you have to do is say, come into my heart. I need you. Thank you. And then try to change your ways. You're thinking of Priscilla and Aquila, a married couple in the New Testament, but the story about a couple who sold land and gave an offering involves different people. Thank you, Lucy. I appreciate that. Ananias and Sapphira. Okay. Thank you. Lourdes or Jeannie says, hopefully I pronounced your last name right, Lourdes. What a beautiful teaching. I need to hear this. Thank you. You're very welcome. God bless. Okay. Yes, Lucy, I agree. They should be up when the sun comes up, but they need to get outside. You actually need direct sunlight into your eyes. But if it's winter, bundle them up and put a face mask on and a scarf over their head, but they need to see the sunlight coming into their eyes. And it'll be 7 o'clock in the winter instead of 5:40 or whatever. Tia says, how many milligrams of glycine? It's more like how many grams of glycine for better sleep and lower uric acid as well. Glycine, for the most part, I guess it's going to depend on how much stress you have, how well your kidneys are working. Glycine is like a master amino acid that helps with a lot of things. And I would say most people need about 12 grams a day. Our body makes 3, all right? So if you're a person who's working on their health, you're under a lot of stress, got a lot going on, I would say 12 grams is a good amount that we need to work on. And I would get it in divided doses, okay? So maybe taking 3 to 5 grams of glycine before you go to sleep will help, all right? Tech, I asked, do polarized sunglasses affect this need? I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't wear sunglasses and I don't encourage sunglasses, and you have to get used to it. But, you know, it's, yeah. I don't know that even wearing polarized sunglasses is going to help allow the sunlight to get into your eyes where they're needed. Tia says kidneys are not too well. Glycine could help. 1856 says, could anemia be caused by iron deficiency? I usually faint when I wake up and go to pee directly. Can I take iron supplement for this? If what's the milligram I have to take? Yes, iron, you could be iron deficient. You could have um, iron dysregulation where you're not iron deficient at all. It's just in the wrong place. It would take 1856, I think, for you. I would strongly consider signing up for a consultation where I can review all of your labs and look at it and see. But sounds like you're not in a safe spot if whenever you wake up you faint. Okay, that's not, you need to see your doctor, okay? All right. Oops. Any questions over here on, you guys are all quiet. Okay, we're up to 32 thumbs up. Can we get to 35, you guys? Let's see. Lucy, am I missing anything? Mad Melly says extremely anemic. All right, is that a question, or are you stating that you're extremely anemic? Or I'm not understanding. If you have a question, it helps put a question mark in front of whatever your question is, and then I can tell if it's a question or just you giving a statement. Okay. Trying to go back and read, making sure that I'm not missing anything. Looks like I got everything. Any other questions, you guys? Oh, Mad Melly says, I was saying when they got up, if they pass out, like it sounds like extreme anemia, or it could be orthostatic blood hypotension, low blood pressure, right? Orthostatic. So they're getting up. They could have a heart condition. It might not be anemia at all. It could be something else, but it would take somebody looking into it, right, Mad Melly? It would take a doctor looking into it. It would take looking extensively at all of the labs, because most doctors miss most things. They don't look. They're looking at each person like a recipe, and they use the exact same ingredients for every single person. And it usually includes, I make a diagnosis and I'm going to give you some sort of medicine. There's no medicines out there that will cure your problem. Not going to cure your insulin problem, not going to cure your blood sugar, not going to cure your autoimmune. We're not going to cure your cholesterol problem or any other ailment that you have. Giving you a medicine does not cure you. It temporarily blinds it, but until you get to the root cause of what is going on, for some of you, that could be childhood trauma. For others of you, it's just one big giant crapola diet and no exercise and no sleep and living on the edge and just not really having the gumption to want to take care of your temple. Okay? But just simply giving you a medication is not curing you. Okay? So Mad Melly, you're saying that after you had your second child, you lost a lot of blood. You went a whole year passing out every time you'd stand up. Mad Melly, you went a whole year. That is not from you losing blood a year ago during a delivery. Okay? If you're continuously losing blood, I could see it happening for a year. But that losing blood from the child, something else is going on unless you have an internal bleed. okay? But yeah, there's something else going on. $18.56 says, for not to pass out, I usually need 30 seconds. Right. So, you sit up and you hold on to something and you get all the blood that was down in your feet back up to your brain so you don't pass out, so you don't get dizzy. Yeah, Mad Melly, if your blood pressure is low, too low, you're getting orthostatic. You're feeling dizzy every time you stand up. It's worse in the morning usually, but I have patients that get orthostasis all the time. Maybe they're on a salt-free diet. Maybe they're not drinking enough fluids. Maybe they're drinking too much caffeine. There's a lot that's going on, okay? Low blood pressure, if it's causing symptoms, is not in our best interest, okay? And yes, I think everybody should maybe get a baseline lab. But here's the thing. Once we get labs, the doctors go to town making diagnosis. And now your diagnosis is going to, for them, require you to take some sort of a medication. You get a scan, we get a diagnosis. They're called diagnostic tests for a reason. I'm going to give you a test and I'm going to make a diagnosis. I do it all the time. I could make up a ton of diagnoses for a lot of you just by looking at your labs, looking at your scan. You'll get a diagnosis. I can guarantee it. T, I don't understand your question or statement about the AI YouTube channel for Iron Lady. I'm not sure what your question is. Lucy says, what could be the reason of headaches in the morning? Could be, Lucy, it could be a number of things. I wouldn't even know where to start. But you could have, or someone, this is just a question in general, you could have sleep apnea. If you are not breathing when you're sleeping, then your brain is going to be under-oxygenated, okay? That's one way. You could need magnesium. It's a possibility, but again, I would get labs. Don't just take stuff for giggles. You need to make a diagnosis to know what's going on. Mad Melly says, when I get a headache, it's generally because I'm dehydrated. That's a possibility as well. Yes, 1910, clenching and grinding, bruxism is another possibility. Good, you guys. I love this. See, you guys are all little doctors. And trust me, you do not have to go to medical school, okay? You do not need to go. In fact, you guys are much more brilliant than half the doctors I know. And they spent a lot of money to get a degree. Yeah, 1856, it could be due to your diet. That's exactly right. Let's see, make sure I'm not missing anything. Tia says, I have macrocytic anemia, large red blood cells. Any feedback? Yes, you have to ask yourself, why are your red blood cells unhealthy? Do you have a B12 deficiency? Do you have a folate deficiency? Are you even converting your B12 or folate? Did you get an MMA level? Did you get an MTHFR level? Is your liver okay? Why are your red blood cells larger and unhealthy? They're very fragile when they're macrocytic. They're very fragile when they're microcytic. They don't carry very good oxygen and iron. You're not iron deficient. You could have iron locked up in other places. Sometimes looking at a macrocytosis, I would look to the liver, but I would also look to seeing if my B12 is okay. And if it is okay, I would still get an MMA to make sure that I'm even actually using the B12, absorbing it. It could be in your blood, measuring it in your blood, but it's not getting to your tissues where you need it as the cofactors, okay? All right. Yes, Lucy, wear a mouth guard, but you have to be very careful that if you do have or you clench or grind, you don't want to get a mouth guard that you're using as a chew toy when you go to sleep at night and not know it. You actually make your problem worse. You don't want your back teeth to touch at all. If you are a clincher or a grinder, if you put a mouth guard that goes into your mouth all the way back, you will clench down on that. You will continue to hurt your masseter muscles, your TMJ. You will also cause so much tension and pressure on your molars that they could spontaneously crack and fissure over time when you bite down on a piece of ground beef. All right? Yeah, Mad Melly, you're probably right, but he went just an hour and a half ago. So would he go again? Absolutely, right, buddy? This is Buddy Blue. Okay. So yeah, he might need to, who knows? But he can wait, right? You're very patient. When I talk, you just want to fall asleep. Don't your eyes are getting very sleepy. So let's put your feet down. You don't want to fall over, okay? So a special mouth guard would be one that retrains your nervous system. You that grind or clench likely are the very people I started out talking about today. The highly sympathetic fixer, codependent empath who can't dump all of their thoughts onto their diary or need to dump even more thoughts into their diary. So there's a special guard that retrains your nervous system, and it basically is a piece of plastic that sits, I think it's on the upper teeth, a little piece of plastic, just enough so your teeth in the back never touch. Okay? So that retrains your nervous system to not clench down. You can't. There's nothing, it's like suspended. Your front and your back teeth never can come together. Okay? That is the type of mouth guard that you need to see your dentist for, and they are expensive. If you buy the true dental version of it, do they make other versions of it that would work? Absolutely. But a true doctor version costs about $800. Okay. Yeah, $600 is not unheard of. Lucy, is it one that does just sit on your front two teeth? Yeah, Purple Flower, you do not, if you're a grinder or a clencher, you do not want to simply use a full mouth guard. Over time, you're probably developing holes in it from your teeth going through it. Am I correct? Because if I am, you are actually making your problem worse. You are putting more stress and tension on your teeth. They're going to break over time, okay? Even though they're white as can be and your gums are perfect, but you're breaking your teeth. They will crack. And your jaw is getting out of kilter. If you are clenching or grinding, your jaw is not in alignment. Your teeth are not in alignment. And your muscles are working so hard all the time. They never get a chance to relax. Then they are going to close with asymmetry. There's no symmetrical closing. And so they'll be asymmetric. And now when you chew or whatever you're chewing, they're going to be off. And now you're going to cause pressure where pressure was never supposed to be. Go to your dentist and have them talk through what your problem is. And, they can stick a little piece of purple paper in there and see exactly how your alignment is. Or they have us no special technique where it's like some sort of picture AI something or other where they put a mouthpiece in there. You clench down and see how your bite is it off, asymmetrical? There's all kinds of things they can do now. But yeah, I caution you on your teeth, okay? Go to the dentist, find out what your exact diagnosis is, and get the right mouth guard. And I don't know if it's called a TNS, TNF. It basically retrains your nervous system. And Lucy, you could maybe look it up. What a little mouth guard that goes over your front two teeth, and it retrains your nervous system. TNS, something like that. It's a special guard. Purple Flower says, you're exactly right. Thank you for the advice. I have an appointment soon. Good, 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 good. Excellent. Tia says, I'm on torsemide, diuretic, don't like the feeling, constant pressure in my bladder. Any suggestions for water retention due to heart failure? That's complicated, Tia. I don't know what kind of heart failure you have. Systolic, diastolic, I'm not sure. Do you have a pacemaker? Do you have a defibrillator? Do you need a diuretic? Could you change your diet? Heart failure responds to ketones. If you are in ketosis, it increases your stroke volume, increases your cardiac output. It gives your heart, or the arteries of your heart, it vasodilates them. So if you aren't in ketosis, you could be disregarding one of the easiest ways to help your heart function better, and that's not going to require any medications. Yes, that is it, Lucy. A mouthpiece that electrically stimulates the nervous system, but it's not an electrical piece. It's just a piece of plastic. But the way it works, it's called a TNS, trigeminal nerve stimulation. So the trigeminal nerve comes in our face. I think it's off cranial nerve 5, okay? And it's off just like your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is likely overactive. And so instead of you having a whole bunch of messages going on in your brain and you're thinking about all these things and going down rabbit holes in your sleep or not sleeping, you're actually using so much stress and tension because of the way you have trauma or whatever, okay? But you need to retrain your nervous system, and this particular device that sits in between your front two teeth to keep your back teeth from clenching together or grinding together is basically resetting your trigeminal nerve, and it does work. It's amazing from what I've heard, okay? All right. Oh, what is my channel name on YouTube? It's Iron Lady Doc, but sometimes you have to put in my whole name, Malia Jensen. So Iron Lady Doc, Malia Jensen, and it'll pull me up. Okay, Iron Lady Doc, and then Malia Jensen in the search bar, and then it'll pull me up. Lucy, Pasha says that when she was exposed to her space, her sleeping space had mold in it, she would wake up with headaches. So I guess she's recommending, Lucy, that you check your sleeping space for mold. It's a possibility. Thanks, Tia. I appreciate that. Okay. My liver is not okay. I've got non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Okay. What is the cause of your non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? It's not alcohol, right? So it's something else. It's something called insulin. How does insulin go up? Sugar in your diet, carbohydrates, too much stress, which raises cortisol and adrenaline. Hi, Ed Hackett. Thank you for being here. Okay. Lucy says, why someone that does lift weights and have at least 4 cardiovascular sessions per week, so doing some sort of cardio, get thrombosis veins puffed up on the back of their legs, asking for a friend. Is it a female? Is it a female that delivered babies? Because they likely have blood vessels, veins that the valves broke, and over time, those valves back up. They're not dangerous. They're superficial veins. They can be painful. You can get phlebitis, itis of the veins, inflammation of the veins. Sometimes they can even get infected. Wearing compression socks, raising your feet on a pillow when you sleep at night, it's a male, okay? I mean, it could be from extreme lifting. It could be if they could have thick blood, Lucy. Do they take any type of hormone replacement? They could have iron overload. That can increase thrombotic veins. Okay, no pain? No pain yet, Lucy. A lot of times they get painful, okay? So yeah, there's probably a lot of little nuances that we don't know about, Lucy. Yeah, it can go to normal. Again, I'm guessing that the veins, the valves in the veins are not doing so well. They're unhealthy. So when they're under pressure lifting weights, they pop out. And then when they're not under pressure, not lifting weights, they're home, they have their feet up, things get, and then you can't see them. That's a possibility, but I would venture to guess that is from the pressure in the valves of the veins, and they're not doing so good. So you need to take care of them now, or else that's going to be a permanent thing, and it won't go away, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. It looks like all the questions we have. I think is that right, Lucy? All the questions I answered them. You Instagrammers are real quiet, but I appreciate you being here. I really do. Hopefully you're learning and you're just soaking up all this knowledge. Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys. I think that's it. What do you mean with them? What do you do with them? What do you with them? Compression socks. Okay. If the veins valves are already broken or not doing so well, you can't really reverse that. There are some docs who will give scleral therapy. So you go to a vascular surgeon. When you go to a vascular surgeon, sometimes they can just inject some saline into that, and they can cause actually those veins to kind of sprout out new little venules, new little veins, little tree branches. It's possible. But seeing a vascular surgeon and taking care of them right now is so much better than waiting until it's a permanent aspect and they can get inflamed and painful. But yeah, wearing compression socks, I would work on diet. I would definitely check a hemoglobin, hematocrit, and iron studies for sure, okay? Yes, you're right, 1910. Compression socks all the way up. If you have an HSA, health savings account, or any other type of account, then any type, as long as your doctor says that there's a need. I mean, some insurance companies with HSAs aren't as stringent, but some insurance require that your doctor gives you says that it's required for their legs because they have edema, swelling, fluid retention. They would need just a little note to get it covered on their HSA. Cameron asks, what happens to the liver when you get diabetes? Well, if it's type 2 diabetes, you got hyperinsulinemia, and hyperinsulinemia causes fatty liver. When fatty liver worsens, it can lead to fibrosis. Fibrosis means hardening like a brick. And you can get a FIB4 scan to see how fibrotic your liver is. If the fibrosis gets worse, it can lead to cirrhosis. And yeah, that is death. It can even lead to cancer. Okay? So if you are a type 2 diabetic, it's in your best interest to reverse your type 2 diabetes. Do they make knee sleeves that act as compression? Yeah, but you're only compressing an area just around your knees. So all of the fluid that's below your knees is going to stay pooled there, okay? And then all of your other fluid that's coming back down during pressure, it's getting stuck. So if you're only compressing a certain space, like around your knee, you're actually could be worsening your problem, okay? So compression sleeve, I'm just not a big fan. Maybe, well, I don't know. You know what? If you need knee sleeves in order to squat or deadlift or do all of these things, then you're going way too heavy. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Okay? Yep. Mima Wen, yep, I agree. Some insurance companies cover, but you got to get your doctor on board and help you out. Otherwise, go to Amazon and buy SB socks. Capital S, capital B, SOX. SB socks, it's a brand. And get something like 10 to 15 millimeters of mercury. They're awesome socks. They cost, you can get, they're like $3. You can get a pack of 3 for $10, $12. They're awesome. Okay. 1910 says, also, it was actually social media that helped me understand narcissism and that I was dealing with one. To those who are unsure, other people can help you recognize patterns of dysfunction and support. I agree. Dr. Ramani, R-A-M-A-N-I, she's awesome to listen to. Jordan Peterson, Chris Reese, K-R-I-S-R-E-E-S-E, Chris Reese. She's a good one, especially if you're more inclined to listen from a biblical standpoint. There are so many docs out there that are wanting to shed light on narcissism. It is, you'll probably go down deep rabbit holes learning, and then you'll have these light bulbs going off in your brain and go, oh my gosh, how did I not see that? Your initial reaction should not be to say, oh my gosh, that was dumb. Why did I do that? That's the very loop that got you into it, because they devalued you so much that now you're actually believing it. And you say, I'm so dumb, I'm stupid, I can't do anything right. Then you go and get validation by doing something good, and you get that need to be needed again. It is a crazy loop, but you really are good enough. Jesus says you are. He made you in his image, so I'd say you're pretty darn good. He just wants you to be a child of his. So get on board. Yes, Lucy, it can turn into a serious issue. Yep. He needs to go get a duplex. He needs to have a vascular surgeon look at his legs, look at the arteries and the veins. While you're there, just look at them both. But yeah, getting a venous scan is good. Yeah, massive love bombs are not very fun. They're fun at the time. You think you're just very loved because they love bomb you, whether it's a friend or family member, or it's your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend. Yeah, the love bombing feels wonderful until it disappears, and you are so addicted to it that you will take crumbs for a decade, and the crumbs will get further and further apart, and the devaluation will come more frequently until they basically discard you. Blood test for fatigue. Check your thyroid, check a CBC, get a CMP. Yeah. Melanie, if you want to email me, I can send you a list of labs to get. Inheritance House Flip says, I see him coming a mile away. You do now, but maybe you didn't before, right? You might not have seen it before, but you educated yourself, and now it's like, yeah, it's like white on black. You can see it. It is, Mima. Love bombing is always by these people, always followed by worse treatment, because they hooked you. Once they hook you, they got you. You are so addicted. They're like a drug to you, because you need to be needed. You need that love that you never got when you were a little person. You were so busy trying to fix the emotional instability of someone around you that you don't even know how to take care of your own needs. You only know how to take care of someone else's needs. And yes, they will alienate you from everyone. They compartmentalize you, Mima. You are very intelligent. They will alienate you because they have all of their supplies in compartments. They have this person for this certain thing and this person, and none of them have any, they don't even relate. They will keep you so apart that until your eyes are opened, you won't even know that the other people were involved. Okay? They can compartmental. They're working so diligently, these narcissists, that they can actually keep you in a compartment. And you won't even get out because they give you breadcrumbs of love bombs. And so you'll stay in your little compartment. Oh my goodness. That you will stay there because that's where you get your little crumb, your breadcrumb. Mima says, I speak from decades of experience. I'm committed to being single for the rest of my years. Or maybe you will find exactly somebody who is a codependent empath, super empath, who loves you for who you are, and you love them for who they are. It's to... I think when a fixer empath finds another fixer empath, I think it's going to be a match made in heaven. But unfortunately, the fixer empath has to realize that they have a trauma bond that's attracting narcissists, or else it'll continue the rest of their life. And by this time, I'm guessing, Miman, you had decades of this experience. You begin to not trust if somebody is actually real. Are you real? Is that real? Do you really love me? Do you really, or is this a love bomb? I can't tell. Let me wait it out. So you're on edge, you're walking on eggshells, you can't trust anybody. So you'd say, I'd rather just be alone than to try to decipher whether or not you're a narcissist or you're the real thing. I get it. Yeah, I get it. And yes, serve the Lord. But maybe, just maybe, God made you single for a reason. And maybe he's got the perfect match made in heaven for you. I don't know. Only God knows. Until then, he allowed you to see things that have been hidden for decades. And now that you're aware of them, it's going to take you continuous training to not miss it, to spot it every single time, because there's going to be one that's going to be some victim, covert one, and you're going to know that poor soul. I think I can help them. You have to restrain yourself, Mima. You have to restrain yourself and talk to yourself and say, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try to fix them. Don't even bring it up. You cannot help them. They didn't ask for your help. They didn't say, Mima, do you know, I'm having some hair loss. What do you think I should do? No, they didn't. You just went right out and tried to help them. Do not do it. Restrain yourself. Restrain yourself, fixer. Empath, codependent. They're okay. If they wanted your help, they would have asked for your help. Do not extend yourself. It's called boundaries. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. All right. Woo-hoo. We got it. Okay. A question on sleepiness that is midday. It's probably insulin. I'm guessing. I don't know. Thank you, Guy. Guy says, hello, doc. That little one is quite precious. Yes, this is Buddy Blue. He's got lap status now that Tucker is working from heaven. And so he came in mid-May for my birthday. He was adopted from a rescue. He's from Norman, owner surrender and came to the rescue. And then God gave me the opportunity to accept him into my little family and to take care of him for the rest of his life. And yeah, that is... Lucy says, I've been learning so much about this. I am a fixer, Dr. J knows. Yeah, Lucy, start listening to Dr. Ramani, Ramani. She will tell you she's had so much experience with this. She's almost, I know at some point she was probably disgusted that she let herself get so trapped by these people in her life. It's kind of comical to listen to her because she's so awake now. But I think she probably would like to kick herself about 10 times over for attracting the narcissist in her life. But she's even admitted that she's kept some narcissist in her life because she has to. And she gray rocks and she has boundaries and she's learned all these things and kind of deals with them knowing on who they are and that she can never fix or save or do anything for them. And she has to basically learn to live with them. Dolores says, yes, empathetic healer personality here. I got called an a-hole for the first time recently for standing on my boundary. I was so proud of that. That is amazing. Although I'm so proud of you for not actually believing that you're an a-hole and not, because that is very common when we're just, when you're going through a recovery process, okay? It is very common to get a guilt trip and say, was I too hard? Was that boundary too much? You'll question yourself because you've always been taught to question yourself. You've never been able to not question yourself because you've relied on someone else's emotion to determine what your answer or how you should act. And so when you set a boundary, and yeah, I'm glad you were proud, and I'm glad you didn't get a guilt trip because that's most common early on, is you will feel guilty for setting the boundary. And you just have to stand strong, and you just have to practice doing it. You're going to fail many, many times setting boundaries. You're not going to get it a one and done. Trust me. It's going to take each of you who are going through this time. Okay? All right. So, yeah. You're going to fail, and then you're going to have success stories, okay? And you're going to say, you're going to pat yourself on the back and say, good job. And you should talk to yourself. Talk to that little girl in you, okay? And stand up for yourself, right, Delora? And say, Delora, you did awesome, little girl or boy inside of me. I can't tell by your name. I'm guessing a girl. So, you know, you're going to talk to that little girl and say, see, we did this together. I'm here for you. I'm going to protect you. You don't need them. Set your boundary. Don't feel guilty. This is about us. We need this time. We need to heal. Who cares? We need to stop caring about them. They don't need us. They need them. We are only their supply. We are a supply for them. They have nothing, you guys. No empathy. Zero. There is nothing inside. Their own kids are their own supply. Okay? Their own kids are a supply source. It makes them look good. They'll go on vacations and they'll do the soap or the social media posts and they'll pretend like they're going to be sad about something happening in the world. Oh, come on. It is all a mirror image of what they wish they had in someone like Delora or Mima, okay? They have nothing, zero empathy, zero. They can never have empathy. That's what makes them a narcissist. All right. I get passionate about this, guys, because I don't want you to fall victim to these people, okay? And I want you to, obviously, I don't know all the information, and you need to go out and get this information. I don't know who Dervolzula is, but I do know Dr. Ramani. I do know, I've listened to Chris Reese. I've listened to Jordan Peterson. I listened to all these people. They're very, very good. There's an attorney. What is her name? Oh my gosh. She actually takes on clients of narcissistic divorces. She's a divorce attorney. Oh God, what is her name? Katie? Shoot, I can't remember. But she knows how to I don't want to say manipulate. She knows how to help her clients get out of situations because she's studied it so much. She's good. She's got a book out there. I can't remember what it's called. Guy says, my findings are that narcissists are carbon copies of one another with very slight variations. I agree. Are they a covert narcissist? Are they a grandiose narcissist? Are they a victim covert narcissist? Many of these, they will be that victim, and they know just how loyal you are to trying to save them. Okay. And all of their supply sources will be people who save them. Doctors, parents, co-workers, everybody comes to their rescue. That is a covert, vulnerable narcissist. They're victims. They will act all sad. You go, oh gosh, the poor thing. And you will fall for it. Oh my gosh, will you fall for it? Guy says, you are glowing as you speak about him. Yes, Jesus, I'm guessing what you're thinking. It's Chris, K-R-I-S, Reese, R-E-E-S-E or C-E, I can't remember. Chris Reese. She's a blonde lady, probably around 50 years old, 45, 50 years old, somewhere in there. I don't know what her story is, but she teaches from a biblical standpoint and points out biblical verses that help you, if you're a Christian, that actually help you kind of see from a biblical standpoint what is going on. And they can get pretty harsh. And sometimes, you listen to her and then you'll kind of go over to a softer version like Jordan Peterson or Dr. Ramani, or there's multiple. I'm just kind of having a brain lapse. Oh, yeah, my little furry guy licking my chin. But yeah, I thought you were, he's delightful. This little guy's delightful too, but he was a gift from Jesus. How about that? Okay. Thank you for the floating heart, Delora. I appreciate it. Yeah, Mima says, boundaries are tough to keep for folks like us. Each time we hold them, we gain back another piece of what we've lost in the past. In my opinion, you're right. Absolutely. You are finding out that your inner person, your little person inside of you. Rebecca's song. Yeah, I think Rebecca. Rebecca. I don't think, I'm not sure that's, did she have another last name? Like, is it Sung, but yet she goes by another name? Like her last name. It's Sung does not sound right, but then it kind of sounds right. But maybe she had another last name for her book, maybe? Help me out, Mima. Gosh. Okay. Now I can't let you guys go because I got to find out. Rebecca, it's something else. If it's Rebecca, it's not Sung, it's her other last name. Maybe it's her married name. I want to wait and see if you can look it up. Oh my goodness. Lucy, are you still here to help her? I just need to know this attorney's name. I don't even know where she practices at. There's actually a male attorney that talks about this stuff all the time. But these attorneys, I like to listen to them because their mind works brilliantly. Okay, you guys. All right. Zing. Is it Rebecca Zing? Yes, it is Rebecca Zing. I think it is Rebecca Zing. She's actually, I think, Lucy, she has been interviewed on Mel Robbins, on her Mel Robbins podcast. I think she has had this attorney on several times. And she just wrote a book. God darn. Oh, it is Zung? Okay. Zung. That might be it. Zung, not Sung. Okay. Rebecca Zung. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right, you guys. Now I'm going to have to go look it up because I need to know. Yeah, she's kind of a blondish brown hair. Yep. She could be from Florida. Yeah, I can't remember. But that's got to be, yeah, it's kind of a short, straight. She's got straight hair, much shorter than mine, maybe right here. And she's probably around maybe 40, maybe. Linda, you're very welcome. Linda says, just love your lives. They're so interesting. Well, thank you. Again, I tried to give a topic at the very start. And today we talked about when everything is going right that you think, your diet, your exercise routine, yet you still have a chronic disease. You got worsening cardiovascular disease, worsening insulin resistance, and we turned to what is your sympathetic nervous system doing? And then we got in deep on how we have childhood traumas, how our childhood environment has led to the way we act today, and how our path diverges and we get very, very comfortable with being in a chaotic sympathetic environment. And we need to turn down the sympathetic environment and turn up parasympathetic calming environment. And we need to work on that. It doesn't come easy and you need to work on it. That's what we talked about today. And I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but Lord willing, I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central. I'm here every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central and every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. And then I do reels during the week. I did not post my reel for yesterday. I totally forgot. I thought I did, but it is on good cholesterol. Whatever that is, you guys. I'm going to keep you in suspense because I'm probably now going to post it for Monday. We'll do a short little reel on good cholesterol. Maybe good cholesterol turning bad, something like that. All right. Linda says, it all makes such sense to me and resonates. That's good. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. I guess I need a little kudos every once in a while from you guys as well. So, all right. Okay. Looking forward to seeing it. Okay. All right, you guys. Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central. Have a very blessed Saturday. And, oh, geez. Sass, maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. Should we do that? Sass asks, what do you think about the new medication Pfizer just put out for cholesterol? So let's talk about that tomorrow. I'll go look it up and I get the exact name. It's an oral medication. It's actually, should I divulge? It's a PCSK9 inhibitor taken on a once daily dosing. But yeah, we can talk about it. All right, you guys. Have a blessed Saturday, and Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow.